today, today we are recording in progress. Today we will have your share your what you have learned. You can also share your questions if you have any questions. There's one additional thing that I thought of sharing, but I must say that I feel a bit perplexed as to whether to share or not. But a few Heart Sutra workshops before, I did mention about it, and then some students has repeatedly asked about it, but I hesitate to share. In part because this form of teaching, in a way we can say it comes at the later stage, yeah, and it's more towards what we call the Tathagata Gaba kind of teaching. So could have a bit of conflict with Madhyamika. Okay, so I'm going to just start off by bringing it up and then share with you all in brief. And perhaps you all can then share, we go through the class, and you all can share your thoughts about the workshop, or questions. Also, how you all apply what you have learned on the 3 things you have written down right at the start. Yeah, and perhaps you can also share the challenges, or maybe you are stuck somewhere. Then we can discuss. Okay. So, hang on. Just adjust myself a bit. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So it is about the 4 distortion. Yeah. 4 distortion. So basically, 常乐我静. So the first one is impermanence. Second is happiness. Oh, sorry. First one is permanence. Permanence. Second is happiness. Third one is self. And fourth is purity. So in that which is impermanent, we see permanence. In that which is suffering, we see happiness. In that which is no self, we see self. In that which is impure, we see purity. So this is what we have learned before. 常乐我净, the 4 distortion. Yeah. Anybody have any questions about this part? This part should be quite straightforward. We have learned this before. So the tricky part is in one of the sutra known as the 大般涅盘经, which is in this version, this is the Parinibbana Sutta. But this is the version that is found in the Chinese Mahayana canon. Yeah. But it's, we can say that it's in the Chinese Mahakanon, but they are also reputed to have been from India. Okay, so basically these sutras came about, some would say, later. So in the within the whole sutra, which is relatively long, there's this section here talking about the four distortion. Yeah, but this is another angle. Okay, so let me just go through the text here. 何等为义? Yeah, so this 义 here, this is meaning. Also pointing to the truth. Oh, that means reality. Okay. Let me just check my stylus setting. It's a bit weird. Where's the setting? Okay. So 无我者即生死，我者即如来。So in this sutra, the viewpoint is 无我者即生死. So within the cyclical birth and death, there's no self. Yeah, so we all agree with that. But then it says 我者即如来. So then what is self? Self is Buddha. Buddha is the ultimate self. You just go through first, then we can look through whether this makes sense or not. Then 无常者声闻缘觉，常者如来法身. So as far as impermanence is concerned, then the Shravaka, Senwen, and then the Pachika Buddha. That means the two vehicle, those practitioners of the two vehicle, yeah, the Shravaka and the Pachika, yeah. For them, then it's impermanent. And Changzhe Rulai Fasen, what does this mean? So when a person attains to the various fruits, now let's say Arahanthood, then at some point you pass into Parinibbana. So in that sense, it's impermanent. Yeah, you attain Pachika Buddhahood. After you attain, you enter Parinibbana, then impermanent. But for the Buddha, there is three bodies. The Dharma body, which is the body of truth, that is permanent. So this is the second one. And the third one, 苦者一切外道. So 苦者 suffering. So with respect to suffering, what is it talking about? 一切外道, all the heterodox teachings, that is still wrought in suffering. 乐者即是涅槃. So then what about happiness? As opposed to suffering, Nibbana is the true happiness. Nibbana is the true happiness. So 不净者, so the fourth one. So fourth one, purity, impurity. 不净者, so impurity, 既有为法. So the conditioned phenomena are all considered impure. So this is a different way of looking at impurity. Yeah. Then 净者, 诸佛菩萨所有正法. Yeah. So what about purity? Purity refers to all the phenomena, all the Buddha Dharma that has been taught by the Buddhist, of course. Yeah, all the wholesome Dharma is considered pure, yeah, considered to be purity, whereas all the conditioned phenomena all considered impurity. Yeah. To see this clearly, then is named as non-distortion. Yeah, 是名不倒, 不颠倒. So to see all this clearly, then 是名不颠倒. So 以不颠倒故知自知义. Yeah. So because of this non-distortion, then you know the words and you know the meaning. Yeah. So here words and meaning actually refers to the Dharma and the truth that the Dharma points to. Yeah. So 若欲离远离是颠倒者. So 应知如是常乐我净. So those who desire to be free of the four distortion, then should know, as has been said, yeah, uh, permanence, happiness, self, and purity. So this is according to the later Mahayana schools, not necessarily Chinese Mahayana, but the later Mahayana school. Do you see a slight difference between how things are seen? Yeah, because in the later school, there is quite a bit of emphasis on that there is some self, that's permanence. Yeah, all things impermanent, but Buddha Dharma permanent. Uh, I mentioned this before, but I hesitate to bring it up because a bit trickier. Yeah, a bit tricky. Because the Tathagata Gaba school, which is the Rulai Zhang, right? So this school of thought tend towards uh, to, in a certain angle, seem to violate emptiness. Yeah, seem to. Okay, and for many practitioners and students of this school, usually don't like the teaching of emptiness. But if you look at these verses carefully, um, it reflects it reflects the questions that some of us may have. For example, uh, let's say, for example, the, the 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 first one or the second one, 无常, okay, 无常者, 声闻缘觉, 常者如来法身. So impermanence, we say all conditioned phenomena is impermanent, right? Yeah, not we say lah. Buddha said, Buddha declared. Yeah, he saw it, he declared, and then he expounded on it. And those who go and contemplate on it, verify it, then they attain enlightenment. So then the question is, have you ever wondered, hey, we practice so hard and attain enlightenment. Is the enlightenment permanent or impermanent? Right? You all have this kind of question before? Bound to have. At some point, you will have. Yeah, so some of these statements actually, in a way, try to address it. Yeah, that while the physical body is impermanent, the truth you attain to is actually, here it says it's permanent. Okay? Here the statement is permanent. But in Madhyamika school, in generally in the teachings, we say the truth itself is beyond permanent or impermanent because it's not created to begin with. Yeah. But in the Tathagata school, that which is 不生不灭 is known as 常住. Yeah, it's known as eternal. Yeah, so some of this, if you understand it as a different way of phrasing, then no conflict. If you take it literally that is permanent, then you may have a conflict, and then you may have question. Hey, then, then there's a conflict, some issue here. Yeah. Then how about the first one? 无我者即生死. Yeah. So sentient being subject to birth and death, right? Then the Buddha teaches us no self. Yeah. So okay, 无我者即生死. Yeah. So no self, then birth and death. So those beings that is subject to birth and death, actually no self going through birth and death. But then the following statement, 我者即如来. Yeah. Then what is the self? Is there a self? Here it says there's self. Here it says there's self. The self is Tathagata. Yeah. So let me write out this part so that it's clearer. 我者 I must shrink it down a bit so I have more space. So 我者即如来。So, um, uh, so loosely translated, that which is self is Tathagata. So Tathagata is Buddha. So how can this statement be true? The Buddha, left, right, center teach no self, right? Then now it says there's self. Huh? Now it says there's self. So for those who have attended the Diamond Sutra, my teacher actually, I think, mentioned about this also. Yeah. So the only way this can be true is, what is Buddha? You will recall in some texts, Buddha equals to Dhamma, right? He who see the Dhamma, see the Tathagata. He who see the Tathagata, see the Dhamma. So Dhamma and Tathagata are equated. Yeah. So if that's the case, then that which itself is Dhamma. Can it still be valid? Yeah. So according to my teacher's explanation, it's basically saying when the Buddha teach suitable students, then he declare that it's no self. But there are those who don't like no self. You tell them no self, they go a bit batshit crazy. They scratch their head for the whole night. How come there's no self? Yeah? 明明我在听你在讲，然后你说我，yeah. whole the whole course I'm listening, I am listening, you are teaching. How can you say no self? Yeah. So according to my teacher, in fact, in various commentaries, it says, or rather, the citation of what the Buddha said is, the Buddha, when teaching some individuals who delight in self, yeah, if you teach them no self, then they just shut off. No, that's self, no, I don't listen. Then they cannot even enter into the Dharma stream. So the Buddha, out of compassion, you say that self, okay, yes, that's self, come. You like self, come, there's self, don't worry, come. Yeah, then they learn Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Yeah, really, there's self? Yes, there's self. If there's no self, how you practice precept? It is the self practicing precept. You practice until in the end. So now today I'll tell you what is self. Self is impermanence, is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Yeah, self is just the aggregation of elements, then artificially labeled self. That is the self. Then no problem. So then it makes sense. Yeah? That which is self is Tathagata, because Tathagata is Dhamma. The Dhamma is basically the reality. Yeah. Then no problem. Yeah. Long time ago, I had a discussion with my mom. After I read the Pali Canon, then I told my mom, because I ever heard some variables mention about Changle Wo Jing before. Yeah. And in fact, there's a Buddhist center called Changle Wo Jing. Yeah. So this notion is so prevalent especially in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, in some parts of Tibetan Buddhism also. Yeah. Some of the schools don't think all Tibetan practice Madhyamika. Some schools practice Tathagata Gaba also. Yeah. So why are there all these schools? Because there are those who I don't know why, but they like, yeah. So out of compassion, okay, we establish for you. The trouble with this approach is it's supposed to be a skillful means. so that people can learn the Dharma. But after 1 generation, 2 generation, 10 generations later, then the explanation is thrown away. And then the skillful means is taken as the ultimate truth. Then you have problem. And then you have problem. Oh. So, so this is the Mahayana angle of the four distortion. Yeah. But in a way, if you compare with what we have learned, there's some parallel also. Yeah, there's some parallel also. So you will recall there's 3 stages, right? The first stage, that which is we take phenomena to really have substantial things arising and ceasing, right? So we take impermanence to be real. Yeah, there's real things going through impermanence. So the enlightened ones, they transcend this. Yeah, they don't grasp onto all the phenomena. Yeah. Then the second stage, it is said that the Sravaka and the Pachaka Buddha, they see the samsara and the nirvana as very clear, distinct, substantial, inherent things. Yeah, the inherent part is questionable, but very substantial, real. The Buddha and Bodhisattvas transcend this. And the third stage, the Bodhisattvas take the attainments, yeah, the arising of wisdom, the reduction of defilements, the attaining of paramitas, and so on as real. The Buddhas transcend all this also. All kinds of attainments is transcended. Yeah. So there's some parallel also. There's some parallel. That, oh, hang on, there's a delivery. So because of the grasping, then the different beings get stuck at different stages. And now you all have to wait. Okay, right. Okay, that's all I have to share for this one. Okay, so today we shall continue with, we shall start with the you all to share. First time, I still wonder whether we miscalculated. Is this the 9 or 10 lesson? Number 9. Surprise, how did I finish up so soon? Because usually up to the last lesson, at most I have half an hour left. Yeah. Today I exceeded by 2 lessons. But I think it's partly because we are having the hybrid class. Because when it's in person, I can ask individuals questions much easily. Yeah, correct. Those who have attended past workshops, yeah. Now there's a hybrid, so I have to attend here, attend there. Then a bit hard to do that. Okay, so who want to go first? You're supposed to share your learnings, and then if you have any questions, you can also ask. Some of you may have posted into the Telegram. Yeah, I can see that some of you actually did the homework very nicely. Yeah, the 4 quadrants. Some of you are very zen. You know what is very zen? The very minimalist. So your chart is very minimalist. Yeah, but the important thing is to there's no right and wrong answer, so to speak. The important thing is actually for everyone to appreciate how every single aspect of our life actually in turn depends on other factors and conditions. To that end, if you can appreciate that, then the workshop has done its job, and you all have done your part. Yeah, good. Some of y'all actually did the 4 quadrants and then did the mapping, yeah, for various quadrants. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So how we have now we have the time is yours for y'all to ask questions or to share your. I think I should just go through the names, then you'll share. Otherwise, you all will just sit there and happily. You ask them. So I'm going to just jump around, okay? Because Zoom order the videos according to those who log in first. So I think I will ask from behind. That's like when we are in a class, right? I usually ask from those who are sitting behind. Yeah, so students always like to hide behind, right? So I ask from behind. And this way, you all cannot run, because if you switch off, I warn you all first. If you switch off your video and turn on again, your Zoom will put you behind. So yeah. Li Hui, I think she's in KMS because she told me that her family is there doing prayers. Yeah, Yiling, Lai Yiling, are you there? Marcel? Come.
Okay.
Okay, after Marcel, then Li Hui turn on the video already. Okay, so Marcel.
Okay, Shifu. Thank you, Shifu. So I would like to share about the initial question that Shifu asked at the first lesson. about the three things that upset me. So
Shall I spotlight him? Give him the spotlight? No. Okay, I don't spotlight him. If I say spotlight him, then all of you get stressed. Okay, Marcel, please continue.
yeah, so I would like to link back to the question that Sifu asked at the first lesson about the three things that upset me. So my reflection is like, I feel my life is not too unhappy right now, but the question is, but am I enlightened yet? I think that's the question that I ask myself. I think this question is a good benchmark for me to, whether I'm completely happy or not. But because there are still many things that upset me, so I'm definitely not enlightened yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. So if I may share just one thing that upset me.
Okay.
Okay. So recently in the bus, I saw a man being quite inconsiderate. So he took off his mask and then he take out his chocolate and then just use his hands to eat the chocolate, like very happily. And then I was I'm happy to see him enjoying the chocolate, but after eating the chocolate, he used the hand, he licked all his fingers, and then he just wiped it in the seat and in whatever the parts of the bus that he can touch.
Oh, so he's in the bus.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I saw this,
his fingers and then he wiped on the chair.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I felt very disgusted. So that's one thing that upset me recently, but I really didn't know what to do. I did not want to confront him. I don't think it would make things better. So I just left it.
Okay.
Yeah, but my question is, in the future, if I encounter such situation, I'm not sure what's the right thing to do. Maybe should I tell the bus captain?
That's a good question. If there's a silver lining here is you manage to reflect on whether pointing out to him will actually help him, whether he'd be amiable to it. Yeah. Instead of simply just going on a moral high horse and then like, hey, what are you doing? I don't say that is always the bad choice, okay? Sometimes that is the right thing to do. Like for example, if let's say you see a passenger sitting down there and the person next to him or her actually stealing the wallet, yeah, then maybe, I don't know, that may be the right thing to do. But sometimes some people will say, but if you do that, you put yourself in harm's way, right? The person may mark you, remember you, and then after that, go after you. Yeah. But I sometimes wonder if everybody fear for their own, then chaos will win in this world. Yeah. But still, I say it's good that you reflected on how whether speaking at that point in time is the best option. You know? As to what is the best thing to do, it will be easy for me to just tell you what I think I would do. Yeah, but I hesitate to think that is necessarily the best thing. Partly because I'm wearing the robes, so wearing the robes give me some privilege. Yeah. But at the same time, it's also about how every situation and circumstances may differ. Yeah. In recent weeks, we have seen some individuals who outrightly flout this rule. Yeah. To me, it's not so much about the rule or flouting of the rule, but have complete disregard for other people's well-being. Yeah. The rules, we must always remember, the regulations exist to uphold our well-being, to keep everybody safe. So to me, the focus shouldn't be on individuals flouting the rule or regulation, but the fact that these individuals have flagrant, um, like wanton, this care, like they just don't care about the fact that they can potentially affect others. Yeah, and they are probably affecting others as we speak, by just. Oh, so as to yeah, so as to what option is the best, I think so far I've seen the videos. Individuals are still very civil. Yeah, they approach the person, talk to them relatively kindly. Yeah, but you can see that the person, those individuals who are on the video, when they respond, they are basically like, my own business. Like, why you got a badge? Or, I mean, that's just very sad. Mm. The last I checked, that lady that is now has been charged and then sent for psychiatric assessment. Oh, so unfortunately nowadays there's this thing here. I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. Yeah, but in US there are people who abuse this. Yeah, and it's been proven that you can game the system. You can actually act crazy for a while, enough to, because the I think the psychiatrists, they will give the person benefit of doubt, but they do have some rigorous tests, you know. The question is, like, there's always this question of real or not. Yeah. But in a civil society, we have to trust the system and then let the due process take place. Yeah. The easy solution is just to say, go and scold the person, back the person, but that is called mob justice. Mob justice is very dangerous because anyone can justify mob justice. Yeah, it doesn't follow any rules or regulation. Yeah, no. Of course, I don't think Marcel is about to go stand up and go and whack the guy or somebody. Oh. So I would say, if we do witness this, I think your question of whether it's the best thing to do to go and inform the bus driver, I think that may be the best option. Yeah. The fact that the person unmasked to eat something or drink something is one thing. The fact that the person then proceed to wipe his hands that he just licked on the chair, even without COVID, that's wrong one. You don't need the COVID-19 to say that that's wrong. Like, so I don't know. Maybe the person need psychiatric help or something.
And
besides this, so this is linked a bit to sense of right and wrong, sense of justice. Any other things?
after that incident, I do not take seat in public transport anymore.
You do not take what?
I do not have a seat. I just stand every time I enter the train or the bus.
Now that you share, I think the rest of them may hesitate to take a seat after this. You see how dangerous it is for one person section, and it can create fear and uncertainty in so many people. No lah, don't stand. Take the thing and wipe before you sit down. Okay. So is there any how about anything that you have learned from the workshop?
Well, this is my second workshop recourse, so there's nothing much new that I learned, but it's a good reminder, a good refresher. Particularly one thing that quite memorable is when Shifu mentioned about 4 foundations of mindfulness. It's actually linked to the first 4 aggregates. And then where is the 5th aggregate? It's actually the one that's observing. Yeah, that one is particularly memorable.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting the ball rolling. Yes, in the past years, students will ask me whether there will be Heart Sutra or what classes. Then I'll tell them, yes, this year still conducting Heart Sutra. And then they'll ask me like, is it the same material? And I'll tell them, well, since the Buddha's time, last I checked, emptiness haven't changed. The sutra, nobody revised the sutra also, so I can't change anything. Okay, we have a new volunteer because my sister suddenly appeared at the back. So next we have my sister Irene Lim.
I actually don't know why I feel because my system keeps dropping me off and connecting again.
So Zoom volunteered you.
Okay. For me, this Heart Sutra class is actually the 3rd time I'm taking. Definitely, this was more complete because the last 2 rounds I have been missing like maybe 30-40% of the time due to my business trips. So this time around, I think it was really good that I managed to attend all the lessons. And personally, I think the biggest takeaway for me is the learning how to do contemplation and looking into, I think because in the past when I hear about, contemplate, but I always like, how do I actually contemplate, what exactly, how do I even start? And I think Sifu, with the different exercises that you gave us on and off, like every other week or something, it helps me to really think on the subject and thereby doing the contemplation. And from which I think when I link it back to the initial questions of what actually agitate me the most, just pick one of them, would be that sometimes when my son, sometimes I always see that he always make the mistake over and over and over again. It's like, hey, how many times do I have to repeat that this should not be the way to do certain things? So I think when I'm doing all the different exercises, it starts to actually help me to see that, not to be too attached to him. Yeah, so I think this was one of the biggest learning, because it kind of make me reflect on myself, why am I reacting so strongly whenever he made a mistake? Is it me or is it him the problem? Because of course, son is always thinking, yeah, he's the one having a problem because I'm right. But I think through the lessons and through the contemplations, it helped me to see that, yeah, he may be wrong, but I need not react in that way, because whether to react or not is up to me. So if I'm able to hold my mind, then I don't have to be so agitated. So I think for me, that was one of the biggest learning through this round of the Heart Sutra workshop. Yeah, thank you, Shifu.
That's good. Yeah. Yes. I'm glad that you did the exercise and managed to glean the contemplative side of the exercise. Yeah. In fact, in most of the workshops, I actually explain why we have the exercises. Yeah. The exercises is a preliminary to the full contemplation. Yeah. I know that as adults, we are not so used to doing exercises anymore. Huh? In school, we do homework, right? Then when we grow up, we are just doing work at work, and the closest to doing homework is paperwork. And we know that nobody likes paperwork. Everybody don't like paperwork. Maybe not everybody. I personally don't don't have a strong aversion towards paperwork. Yeah, except that I will try to automate it. Yeah, but the thing is, the exercises serve as guided contemplation. Because if we were to just start off contemplation, we may sometimes find that we revert back to our old way of thinking. Yeah, or the scope itself is not well defined. Yeah, and we may halfway through jump all over the place. So the various exercises basically, if you think about it, the whole sutra is about emptiness. All the exercises is nothing but emptiness, right? But yet the exercises seem quite different. And it's because it's taking the principle of emptiness and then dissecting at different levels and to different degrees, yeah, and then getting you all to do it on different areas, yeah, starting with inanimate objects, just things, yeah, and then going on to events, things happening, yeah, then down to individuals, yeah. In a way, if we were to say, hey, let's spend a bit more time on the last one, Ren. Oh, this can be a workshop by itself. Yeah, this can be a workshop by itself. There's so many layers to this. Yeah. So I hope that this, the Heart Sutra serve as an opening. Yeah, and I'm glad it helped you to actually get more attuned to the process of contemplation. When you become more and more attuned to it, then the writing part can become secondary. Yeah, although once in a while, it's also helpful to just pen it down. Yeah, because then you can see the whole flow of your thought process. Yeah, it's just like at work, when you are when you first start off on a certain role, you may need to take down notes on what needs to be done. And then after that, initially when you take down your notes, it's all over the place. There's no flow, there's no congruency front and back. Then the second phase is you start to piece them together and you start to see certain flow and you start to optimize it. But then eventually you become so good at it, you don't need to write down anymore. It's all, as they always say, we always say at the back of your mind, fingertips, yeah. And then by that time you mentor newcomers and it's like, come on, this should be on your fingertips. But it's never at the fingertips at the start. So it's very similar when it comes to contemplation and learning Dharma. So that's why we start off getting you all to write down your exercise. I know some of you are quite maybe a bit disappointed, like, Sifu keep asking us to do exercise. Every other way give us exercise, but never mind leh. I do read through them. Yeah, I do read through them. Yeah. So in most cases, I don't comment because there's how do I put it? Because most of the comments apply across the board, then I will just bring it in class. I'll bring it out in class. Yeah. And unless there's some glaring things, okay. It's just like in primary school, every single homework that you receive back, the teacher will cancel here, circle there, and then sometimes even do the working and ask you to do corrections. But when you reach university level, tutorial, do the tutors mark your things? Nobody mark your thing. Yeah, yeah. And usually for undergrads, when you go for tutorial, you're hoping that the tutor don't ask you to present. You're like just hiding, Yeah. And since junior college, I developed a methodology. I always volunteer myself for the first question. Yeah, because the first question is usually easiest. So I just volunteer myself. First question, before he can even finish it. Me, right? Right? Very confidently. First question, right? Go up, right, finish. Then the whole tutorial lesson, just sit back. But then later on, I realized actually that doesn't help me. Yeah, that doesn't help me because yeah, you cannot have it easy, but then you don't really learn that much. Yeah, when the tutor asks you to do a question that you don't know, that's the maximum value you get from the tutorial lesson. That's the whole point of having tutorials. Otherwise, just go online, search Google nowadays. Yeah. So while I understand some of you maybe like don't dare 敢怒不敢言 don't dare to get upset, but don't dare to say that that 师傅 talk only ask us to do homework, huh? Then ask us do homework, do homework. Never mind. I don't read through that. I don't read through. Oh, yeah. So even as we wrap up the workshop, yeah, by next week, I hope you all continue to revisit the exercises, and don't be limited by the exercises. Don't be limited by them, because the exercise, I can only give you all that many exercises, right? What are exercises? Exercises are basically getting you to do application. The real application is in your life. So that's the real exercise. I'm glad that you all actually reflect on the things that you have written. Yeah. Because otherwise the workshop becomes very academic. Yeah. You start to think about Dharma in terms of Dharma, but not in terms of your life. Yeah. It can be a bit scary sometimes when you reflect on emptiness, on impermanence, that even our intellect that is dependent arising. So when we do the exercise on the 4 quadrants, and the upper part is inner abilities or inner qualities, and lower part is abilities. I didn't quite specify that, but some of you may draw the conclusion, and then it may strike you. Yeah, those whatever abilities that you have currently is dependent on conditions to arise. And because it depends on conditions, yeah, those conditions, when conditions change, then what happens? The ability can go away. Otherwise, people cannot have dementia. Yeah. And you don't have to have dementia before that happens. I was just talking to a student. He told me that in the past few years, he started to feel his faculties slow down. He's now 60, going to 61. Yeah. So already he started to experience that. And then we were talking about our age. So he said, 师父, 2 more years for you. Then you are reaching 50. Yeah, then you join the 半百, the half 100. Yeah, then you experience. I say, yeah. That's to be expected. I always remember one of the variables said, if by the time Sifu reached 60 years old, 70 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old, still looks young, then that's 妖怪. That's monster. Yeah. So we'll change. Next, I'm not sure whether it's Lei Ling or is it Lei Ling? Xu Li Ling, is it? Or
yeah, that's me.
Okay. Yeah. Because Ko is surname. Lei can be surname also. Ling can be surname also.
Yeah, Ko is my surname. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, for me, I just wanted to share how I become connected with Heart Sutra. It happened last year during COVID-19, where I attended this kind of like daily Heart Sutra chanting that was organized by one of the temples. So it was led by the monastic. So it was quite interesting because I know Heart Sutra, and everyone tells me that it's a very short sutra, so it's easy to learn and remember. But until last year, I still could not really recite Heart Sutra until I attended the daily recitation session that was run by the monastics. And so it was chanting and then some teachings along the way. And then when I came across this Heart Sutra workshop that Sifu is leading or facilitating, then I decided to sign up. And I really learned a lot, from this workshop, having a clear understanding of, the sutra, because given that I'm not so good in Chinese, so at least, through your explanation, I get to understand, the meaning of Heart Sutra better. And also after the COVID, I mean, during that circuit breaker, right, because all of us were locked down last year, then with this daily recitation, when we went into phase 2, after the post circuit breaker, I decided that I should continue to recite, and I did that with my mother every evening, and I still do that. And interestingly, she gets to learn a bit about Heart Sutra too, through the recitation, and then I also get her to do the Hui Xiang and all that. So I find that both my mom and I benefited a lot, from this, even though it's, a difficult, challenging period, pandemic. But because of pandemic, it gave us that time, to learn Dharma. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Sifu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very glad to hear of your journey. The Heart Sutra is the one of the shortest in the whole Tripitaka, 260 characters. So it's so well known, and even in movies you hear the verse,色不异空，空不异色，色即是空，空即是色. So almost everybody knows, but yet most people don't know. So I'm glad it has helped you and your mom to have better appreciation of the teachings. And sadhu to the monastics from the temple to organize daily chanting.
Yes, during the circuit breaker period. Yes.
Yes. Very good. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Shifu.
Next we have Doreen Chu. Zoom just volunteered you for some reason.
Hello, Shifu.
Yes, hello.
I guess I maybe like her, so I should share how I even get to know Heart Sutra in the first place. So I know it since young actually, because my mom kind of made me recite with her like every day.
Wow.
So all along, I know like Tao Bei Wu Liu kind of, but then I've never really quite understood the meaning, except for like the 色不异空，空不异色. I just know that like it's just something empty and something empty, but I don't really quite understand it. So I thought like that was also, so I thought like this was also like a good chance for me to know it better, because like I've been reciting it, but yet I don't really understand, except for like something is empty. Then one thing that there's a couple, but I guess one of the things that I think changed, or like I managed to apply in my life, is I think the 6 cent base and 6 cents form. I think it makes me more mindful in my daily life. It's like this kind of like little things lah. So the 6 cents base and forms is that I feel that like if I go online shopping and like if I just go to the mall and I see things, right, and I realize that, oh, this is nice, like I want to get it, but then I would somehow in my mind I would like, it will click on me like my eye is seeing this thing and I see the form, and then like how my mind will actually like in contact and then align it and how it differentiate and causing my consciousness to arise and that sort of things. So I end up like realizing that this is actually very tangible and how it's very, very dependent and impermanent, like so I kind of just put it back. I think that's one thing, the more obvious ones. But the other part regarding what is the thing that agitates me, is it, or like that upsets me? I think one of the things is like waking up to work, but that one I still quite haven't found like a direction. Yeah.
Well, emptiness cannot free you of your work. But in a way, it can also. If you manage to 看破红尘, then then you stop working. You just become 24/7 on duty. You know, like we are not work. We don't work anymore, because we work every day. I like your sharing about how you actually apply the six sense base and six sense object in terms of your shopping. Yeah. I always like it when I hear students share how they apply it in seemingly very mundane aspects of their life. Yeah. When students tell me, "Wow, 师傅, I learned this, then wow, got 什么境界, then I'm not so keen on that. Because when people talk about what 境界, they see this, they see ultimate reality, but how does that change our life? Because our life consists of all the 芝麻绿豆, all the small things that's happening. Yeah. And the enlightenment ultimately is all these small things adding up. So I'm glad to hear that it helps you to look at shopping, yeah, from this point of view. So as a result, maybe Shopee or Taobao lose a most valuable partner. They may have emergency meeting, yeah, after this 10 weeks. Can someone account to why there's a drop in our sales? Yeah, because all these students, after attending the class, click add to cart, then remove from cart, add to cart, remove from cart, add to cart. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, next, Sing Ling.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, the five bringing aggregates is the most strong impression to me. Yeah, because of the thinking, mind, when I'm doing my meditation, and it helps me a lot. It's just a thinking aggregates. That is all.
I see. Anything else to add?
No.
Let me just make sure I get it right. Did you say the five clinging aggregates, and then among that the thinking aggregate, or what?
Feeling. So.
Feeling. Oh, the feeling.
Feeling. Yeah. That arises when I'm doing the meditation. Yes. It's just a thinking. So I need to study the meaning behind the feeling. The real meaning, behind the feeling.
Perhaps it can be helpful for you in the four foundations, Senso Xingfa. There is the contemplation, which is a general contemplation, to contemplate on how the body, feelings, mind, mental object, they are impermanent, subject to change, subject to suffering, empty, no self. There's also that's the 总观, the general or universal contemplation. Then there's the 别观, which is the distinction one, distinctive contemplation. 观身不净, 观受是苦, 观性无常, 观法无我. So the second one, to contemplate on how feelings are all suffering. So three kinds of feelings, yeah. So to contemplate how not just the painful feeling, but the pleasant, neither painful nor pleasant, are also suffering. That can help you. Then when you can truly see that it's suffering, then you can contemplate how this suffering is dependent arising and empty in nature also.
Yes. Thank you, Sutra.
Okay. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, Aikin.
Afternoon, Sifu. Can you hear me, Sifu?
Yes, yes.
Can. Okay. Actually, we are very grateful that Sifu actually came to the West for us, to attend in person. But again, it clearly experienced impermanence and condition arising that we have to cut short in person learning. But grateful that we are able to go on Zoom. See, there's the thing that I wrote, the three things that I wrote when I first started, that Sifu says. First on my list is actually to make a point to memorize the knowledge of what I learned, Dharma terms. I've attended quite a number of Sifu's Heart Sutra in English or Chinese, but after a while, tend to forget. But I do keep point to actually memorize. So just to share one thing, there was one day, whenever I see Sifu, I forget everything. I don't know where my memory gone to. There was one day where Sifu actually asked, then I was thinking, hey, which one to start with? We have been practicing together, Even there was one day that we were driving on the way for class. Then I asked him until he said, hey, you keep talking to me. I went to the wrong route to Hong Tuan.
Oh, wait, let me clarify. You're referring to your hubby, right?
Yes.
You all have been learning together, and then you keep asking him until he also...
Yeah, so one day we were actually driving. I said, hey, I always memorize that 色受想行识 and all that. Then he said, no. Then after that, he missed the turn. He forgot to the wrong turn. Make a big turn to... So I say, I have been trying very hard to actually memorize. But when I see Sifu, everything goes blank. So, and the other one is actually mental wellness I'm looking at. But I'm very grateful that Sifu has this every morning sitting together. So initially, we're contemplating to take or not to take, because I'm not sure whether I can be consistent. But I'm very thankful that with Sifu's encouragement and everybody, I see so many, every day they are faithfully sitting. I say, make a point to really attend most of the sessions. I do not say every day. Then there's one thing that I want to reflect is, Sifu talk about the 4 quadrant, the inner qualities, which I find that I have some compassion, I have some generosity. But when it comes to the exercise that Sifu gave us, the role that we perform, am I able to actually apply this compassionate qualities and this generosity to every role that I play? That one is a bit trying very hard because there are people who you like more, and now I don't use the word dislike, because to me now at this stage is like Sifu say, it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Yeah, so trying to put this like, okay, don't want to have negative thoughts about people that are not so friendly. So that's all I have to share. Thank you, Sifu, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your sharing, Aikim. The first thing you mentioned, which is that you're thankful that I went to the West. 到西天讲经. We must thank 弘法团, 新加坡青年弘法团 for making this possible. Yeah. And in turn, we must thank 天桥. 天桥 has to work today. Since Saturday, we have the luxury of attending class, conducting class. You still have to go and work. I know some of you actually do work on Saturday also. and some of you make special arrangement to attend the class. But I have to thank him because he has been putting in a lot of effort to make all the different classes at Hong Fa Tuan possible. Yeah, not just for myself, but for various venerables to teach over there. And by doing that, he's helping those donors who contributed to Hong Fa Tuan to build up that center, to make good that donation. Otherwise, hardware infrastructure you build, then so what? You have a temple, so what? Yeah. Also, it's only when there's Dharma programs that take place, then the center become a Dharma center. Otherwise, it's just a center. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing, I can't remember already. What was the second thing you mentioned?
Or the meditation, the well-being, mental well-being. Join the meditation at morning.
Is that the second thing?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned you try to remember. You try to remember everything, right?
The mental. Oh, that one is the memory one.
Yeah.
Try to
so that part cannot blame you. Sifu has this magical bubble. Anyone who come close within 2 meters of my radius, the mind just go to La La Land, become very happy, and then forget about everything. Either become very happy or very stressed, then cannot remember anything. Yeah, I tell you, last time in the monastery, students were asked to arrange to have a consult session with me. Then they say, oh, I have some questions, I have some problems or questions I want to ask you. But then when you come and see me, then I talk to them, talk. They are very happy, laugh. Then after 1-2 hours, then they go back. Then after they go back, then they text me, Shifu, I totally forgot to ask you my questions. Yeah. So either this or in class, I'm very confident. Yes, come, ask me today. Then the moment Shifu asks, blank. So don't worry, it's normal. It's normal. Yeah. But the important thing is that you actually put in effort to try to remember them. That's more important. And I know that some students, when Sifu asks your questions, you all feel stressed, and when you all cannot get it right, you all may feel embarrassed. Again, I must highlight, it is not in my interest to embarrass any of you. Okay.
Sifu, I very thick skin. I
so, good to know. So if you ever feel like embarrassed, it's okay to feel embarrassed, but don't feel offended. Okay. Yeah, because there was never any intent to offend anybody. Yeah, because if you feel offended, easy to then have resentment or contempt towards Sifu. Then that's very bad karma for you. Because on my side, I'm quite clear it's pure on my side. So if my side is pure, then your side, you have this kind of thought, not good for you. Okay. But I still highlight, I'm not saying that you all feel that way, but I'm still highlighting because I understand how it can feel, especially for adults, right? Even for kids, you paiseh what. Then if the teacher keep asking you questions and you cannot answer, you feel embarrassed, then you don't feel like attending class anymore, or you may feel averse towards the topic. Yeah, human beings, we are like that. Unenlightened, we are like that. So I want to highlight this so that you all don't go down that way. So the other, so two things. Third thing, what is the third thing?
The meditation part.
So
the mental wellness, mental wellness.
Meditation, right? Yeah. So, so don't worry about missing one session here or there. Just continue trying. Yeah. As I shared during the morning seats before also, and also during the Heart Sutra class, we sometimes miss lunch. Doesn't mean we stop eating lunch for the rest of our life. Yeah. So have the same attitude to doing practices. Today miss, never mind. Come late, never mind. Just join in. Yeah. Usually you want to come at 6:30, 6:45. That day somehow you come in late. It's okay. Just join in. Unless you come in at 9, then, then nobody is there. Yeah. But let me ask you, even if you come here at night and you do your 1 hour, does it mean your 1 hour doesn't count? Does it mean that your 1 hour don't count? It still counts, isn't it? Yeah. So I will tell you, anytime throughout the whole day, Zoom is very good. You can join, you can go in and just sit. Who knows? Sometimes maybe you go in, you see Sifu sitting. No lah, Sifu, if I'm sitting, I don't have to go in. I just sit by myself. Yeah. But maybe once in a while, I should just log in and sit. So that in case if any of you feel very down, then you log in. 热线 hotline Zoom meditation hotline. Then you go in, you see Sifu sitting. Okay. There's always someone there. Yeah. Then maybe sometimes I will just use the computer, log in, then run a video. The video of me sitting. No, I will not do that, okay? Don't take that out, take that out. Next time you see me, you wonder, is this the real Sifu or not real? No. Was there anything I missed, Aikim?
No, I think the last one where the inner qualities, how to apply to all my roles rather than only certain roles.
Yes. I love the way you see the connection between the different exercises. Yeah. Although the exercises are given in isolation, they are all interlinked. Yeah. So easy for us to think inner qualities is inherent. Yeah. But when you try to apply across all your roles, then you realize not so inherent. Yeah. Okay. So sadhu.
Thank you, Sifu.
Next, Lei Hun. Okay. Yes. Would you like to turn on your mic and then share with us? Are you able to turn on your mic, Lei Hun? The red color with a icon look like a mic, not the new mic, old type of mic. Can? 可以吗？Or do you need some help? Yeah. Yes. Okay, we can hear you now. 有。你要用华语也可以，要用福建话也可以。
我是讲华语的啦。
好，可以。
OK。
来。
其实心经在很多年前我已经就是有接触这个心经。那么如果这次是英语的，主要其实主要就是我要学一点英语怎么去解释这个心经，因为有些我的朋友他是佛教徒。不过他们讲的都是英语的，那我又很难去用华语跟他们解释，所以我是希望说我能够学一些词汇也好或者内容也好，那么去如果能够跟他们交谈关于佛教的一些就是经典还是什么能够比较能够 communicate 一点。那么还有就是其实师父的应该是第一堂课吧，讲那个拉萨的我觉得对我的感觉是 very impressive 有些东西就是很多东西，一个东西的组成就是很多的成分，那么你要拿到这些成分你才组成这个东西。不过在于这个人生的这种 application 来讲，我觉得 我最大的难题就还是过不了的，就是对家人的一种情执，就是可能我对他们可能太关心也好，还是太执着，我不明白，就是我不知道有时候为什么我不能够比较轻易的能够放下说对他们的，我应该是讲关心吧。尤其是对于孩子，好像他们都成人了，那么我一个孩子他是做生意，那我时不时就会担心到底他的公司怎样，他会不会赚钱。那有时候
离婚了，离婚，对不起啊，打个岔。你不用对着你的手机的下方，你就手机瞄准你的脸，就这样子正常的讲话就可以了。
这样讲啊？
可以听得到的。就看着师傅的眼，然后讲话
OK。
刚才你谈到说你的孩子，你会担心他的公司会不会赚钱啊，怎么样子的？
对对对，到底他的生活怎样？
是。
其实他都挺行的，不过就是我自己好像空担心。那么有时候现在在重复读这个心经，我就比较能够深入的，有时候在想，真的有很多东西都是你控制不了的，包括你自己的情况也控制不了，不要讲说孩子的其他的情况。所以这样就比较让我比较能够释怀一点，就是说你不要老是想说到底他怎样，他有他的路，为什么我好像很在意，就是很要知道到底是怎么他生活的怎么样。我觉得这个是挺苦的。所以心经所讲的空嘛，有很多东西我真的慢慢就说很多很多的情况我们都掌握不了，我们能够的就是自己搞好自己，那么以身作则。那么孩子方面就是可以多了解就了解不要太过在意他们的细节，他们的生活细节。我分享到这里好吗？
好，谢谢你，谢谢你，感恩。我用英语回答一下好不好？
好。
So just now, Lei Hun mentioned about a few things. So there's one part which she mentioned about how about letting go, 放下. Again, I want to highlight, don't let go. Yeah. And Lei Hun also mentioned about how she's not able to stop caring for the children, especially the children, in terms of human relations, especially for the children. I want to highlight that when we learn the Dharma, whether emptiness, impermanence, no self, or any of the teachings, is less about stopping our caring for them, but more about caring without attachment to ourselves. So the thing is not so much to let go of our caring for them, but to not be attached to our way of caring for them. Easy if we are attached to ourselves, to them, and then we care. Easy if we don't care and don't be attached. Not so easy to care without attachment.
Yes.
But this is the angle we should be going for. The other thing is you mentioned about your child. I like your appreciation that a lot of things are not within our control. 因上努力，果上随缘. We have our conditions, causes and conditions. Our children has their own causes and conditions also. Yeah. If you recall the Who Am I Map, then all the different roles, right? 那个角色图，不同的角色。So even the roles themselves change. So for example, you are the mother, right? So being a mother, it is with reference to your child, correct? So when your child is 1 year old, you are also mother. 10-year-old, you are also mother. 20, 30 years old, you are still mother, right? Correct. Yes. How old is your child now? Your son?
My son is 40. My daughter is 36.
So 40 and 36 not 4-year-old and 6-year-old. 40 years old. So that's not far away from my age, you know. I'm 48. Is it 48? 48. Is it 48? Am I 48 this year?
Yeah, you are 48.
48, yeah.
Yeah.
so just 8 years difference, no? So if you marry a bit younger, you can be my mother. Like. So still think about it. When your child is 10 years old or 1 year old, you're also mother. But the way you mother your child at 1 year old should be different when you mother your child when they're 10 years old, 20 years old, up to 40 years old. So this is one of the angle in the roles dependency chart, which you have come to appreciate also. And this applies to all the different roles we play, including ourselves as a daughter to our parents. When we are young, we depend on them. But as we grow up and grow older, they depend on us. We become more the parent figure, making decisions for them. And then you start to realize that it's no fun making decisions. When we are a child, we feel stifled, controlled by our parents. Parents say this, say that, do this, do that, then we have to follow. Then we wish that we grow up, then we can make our own decisions. But in due time, when we grow up and we start making decisions for ourselves, we start to realize that it comes with tremendous responsibility, especially when we have to make decisions for others. Good. Continue the exercise. 继续用功，加油加油，阿弥陀佛。
谢谢师父。
Next we have let me see. Everly.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think first up, I want to thank Shifu for conducting this workshop. Personally, I think I've recited the Heart Sutra for like about 15 years already, but I haven't really gotten the opportunity to really understand the lines, and then so therefore I think I really appreciated how going through line by line, verse by verse, I'm able to be more intentional about keeping the meaning in my mind when I recite it. I mean, of course, admittedly, I don't know how should I put it? I cannot memorize everything at this point. So, but I would try to read through the PDF that is sent over, and then try and incorporate it, especially when I'm reciting also lah. Yeah, I think I took away a lot of learnings from this workshop, especially that what our experiences and the 人事物 are all like empty in nature and dependent arising. I think that really helps me to not cling onto so many things that I have. Like I start to question, okay, my phone or my laptop actually really isn't mine, like, you know, because it's really much dependent on other kinds of conditions. But I guess my biggest hurdle would really have to be when I reflect on my own parents. I can't elaborate on this much because I have quite strong attachment. Yeah. So hopefully one day I can also apply like step by step looking at my applying it to my phone, my laptops, and eventually to the people that I love the most lah. Thank you.
Sadhu. The fact that you found it difficult to do the exercise tells me that you really tried to do it. Yeah. Very easy to do. Yeah, very easy to do if you just roughly think about it. Yeah. But when you really try to apply, especially the human relations part, that's very tough. Yeah. That's why, although we say 人事物, but I started y'all with 物, because that's the easiest. And so that we can appreciate and understand the principles first. I also appreciate that you try to apply it on someone who is those who are very dear to you, your parents. Yeah, really not easy. Really not easy. I think I shared before when I was in US, when I tried to apply the principle of emptiness on my mother. I was sitting in the hall. Oh, then inside my heart, 空荡荡的感觉。心慌意乱 you know, you really feel lost, you know. It's like, yeah. And I tell you, I found myself wondering how, and because in US, when our parents want to contact us, they cannot just call us. They have to make a call and then leave a voicemail in the fax machine. And the duty monks will always check once in the morning, once in the afternoon, then inform us during the 早课 or 晚课 after that that we have messages. Then we will go and listen. So it's open for everybody to listen. And then they will tell us when they are going to call back. Then we have to go to sit in the office and wait for the call. So as a result, there were recordings of my mom's voice. And when I did the contemplation on emptiness, then I was like, oh no. So at some point, my mom will cease to exist. Yeah. Then I will never hear her voice again, the very comforting voice that I've heard since I'm young, you know. So I was so desperate. I was thinking, how can I extract her voice from the fax machine? Yeah. And then over time, as I reflect more, then I'm like, actually, her voice has been changing. I'm sure she don't sound the way she sounds now when she was a teenager. And even when I'm young, I don't think she sounds the way she sounds. It's just that our memory is not precise, so we link all of them up together and we think that that's how she has sounded all the while. Likewise, the way she looked, right? She don't look like that when she was younger. Dark eye ring is not so dark. Yeah, some students say, "Wow, auntie, wow, 你很有福报, wow, yeah, so you have a lot of merits to give birth to a son who is a monk." They don't know the kind of challenges, you know. Yeah, to be my mother always 跟她心相 tell her, 妈，你老了。Yeah, it's when you really do the reflection, it can really hit home. So one day, the mother that we all know will cease to exist. And for some of us, our mother have already moved on to the next life. Yeah. So on one hand, on a daily basis, the function of our mother don't manifest, don't exist throughout the whole day. When there are no conditions, our mothers cease to exist. This is true even before they die, isn't it? Likewise, our role as mother, as father, yeah, it is not persistent. Only when there's conditions, then it exists. Even in this case, when my mother is online with me in class, I don't function as a son. That's why sometimes, sometimes offline, I will tell her, so as much as I'm your son, and I want to give you due, but when I'm with my ropes online in class, I'm playing a different role. You must see this clearly. So really, I must say thank you to my mother. Yeah, because easier for her to just say, I don't attend your class. Now Singapore, no monks to attend. No nuns class to attend. I can attend many classes. I know so many other senior monks. Yeah. But, she still attend the class. Yeah. Actually, she know a lot of Dharma. Correct or not? No or not? Then now she's shy. No. Yeah. But not easy. So, on one hand, our parent-child role actually it's not persistent. It's just that we unconsciously, unknowingly just feel like it's persistent, right? So even when they are alive, it is empty in nature, and the role don't exist persistently. Yeah. So likewise, when our parents one day should pass on, it doesn't make it any easier, but perhaps it can give us some understanding that given the right conditions in future, yeah, then hey, you meet your mother again. Yeah. Some life in the past, according to Buddha, not me, according to Buddha, I was your mother, So I'm talking about my mother, then you talk about you as my mother. No, but this is the Buddha's teaching. Yeah. But this is one part, you all have to do your own reflection. But I want to just say one last thing about this. I'm so glad you actually tried this exercise to even include your parents in your reflection. Because many times, when we're in a good mood, easy for us to shower them with love, with care, with patience and understanding. But when too many things is happening in our life, our work, our relationship, personal life, whatever, everything weighing down on us, then all it takes is that one day, one moment, where our capacity is lower than usual. Yeah, our cognitive load has just used, our cognitive load is exceeding our cognitive capacity, to use psychology term. I don't know whether I'm using it correctly. Yeah, then our parents, amidst our busy week, then still call us, and then we are like, answer the call. Then, 妈什么事？我问你哦，那个 iPhone 的那个 password 是什么啊？Then we're like, really? Really? You gonna ask me now? Like, really? Yeah. But even that is, we have to have compassion towards ourselves. At this point, that's the best we can do. But knowing that the relationship is empty in nature and transient and dependent arising, then let us put in more effort. That even in the worst of times, let us put in more effort to be the best of ourselves. That's the best way to appreciate them while they are dependently arising in front of us. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Xiu Ling. Yes.
Hi, 师父.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What I wrote down when I was reflecting, I realized it's actually just one thing, which is work. So work is biting me a lot. I'm one of the people with the badges. So just now, what Master could have done is go to the bus driver lah. I mean, even now also can if you remember the number of the bus and the timing, because bus have the CCTV. Yeah, you can track. Yeah, so that can be done. Just write in. I think it will do good for everybody lah.
Yes.
So yeah. So for me, yeah, I think work it kept me very busy the whole year. It's more than 1 year since this COVID thing started. So I'm so grateful that you have the session on Zoom. So I got to sign up. Been wanting to attend your course, but never had the opportunity lah. Yeah, so Zoom was a good chance for me to learn the seemingly shortest sutra. I think the simplest thing is always the hardest to understand. Yeah, 最容易的东西是最难参透的，我觉得。Yeah, so yeah, I think what hit me is that I feel like I'm a hamster now, like work. So I shop a lot lah. In fact, what you just shared about like cutting it and removing it, that's something that I'm trying to do, as in like be conscious. I mean, it's like work is very stressful, so I end up shopping a lot, and it's this feeling of like buying new things that I think is a clinging feeling. Yeah, so I'm trying to, every time I do that, right? So I just be very mindful and just be more aware of myself, particularly for this part lah, I feel. Yeah, so I think I'm trying to work this because I don't know, it's like I'm just repeating work, stress, and then buying, and then again, and yeah, somehow I got to like cut it somewhere and elevate myself and step out of this.
I must say, as much as it sounds like cliche, on behalf of a grateful nation, we thank you for your services. Yeah, a lot of people look at enforcement as like a nuisance, you know. It's like, why you all? It's like in primary school, secondary school, the prefect, you know. And people always like, they always look at prefect with contempt. I was a prefect in primary school and secondary school. So people always don't like prefect. It's like, always like that one. But many people don't realize that without enforcement, the law stands for nothing. The very foundation of civilization's modern civil society is the enforcement of law. You think about it, so virtually all countries that are republics have laws, right? Constitution, laws. But why is it that Singapore is different and many other countries are different? It is because there are countries that enforce the laws, so that the law is not just a nice idea. Yeah, and that's why in some classes I share about how like, for example, most people will look at parking warden. Yeah, I have no contempt against parking warden, okay? But I think most people agree someone who is a police officer, you know, carrying a gun versus a parking warden, who are you going to listen to? Police officer come over and say, hey, versus parking warden, hey, who are you going to listen to? Yeah, of course, the one with the gun, right? Even the Cisco versus the True Blue, people discriminate, right? But I highlighted in many classes, I say, when we look at parking wardens, you must know that they represent the law also. Yeah, they are officers of the law as well. And that's why if you can disagree with the ticket, you can always go through the due process, go and challenge the ticket, yeah, with whatever evidence you have, but you cannot abuse the officer of the law. Why? Because if you can do that and get away with it, that means you have disregard for law. Yeah. So I appreciate what you and your colleagues are doing, because this is is really what people say 吃力不讨好的工作. You know, unthankful job. You know, yeah. Everybody like to be the one who go up the stage. Everybody like to do that job, right? Yeah. Everybody like to be the one to go on stage and then cut ribbon. Yeah, but somebody must enforce the law. Yeah. So really not easy. Yeah, really tough. There's a second part you mentioned. What was the second part that you mentioned?
The clinging to shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stress.
Yes. So yeah, let me just do a shout out here. Show of hands, how many of you have been shopping online? Right? Don't be shy. Right? All? So see, Xiu Ling, we're all in the same boat. Yeah. I'm saying this not simply to make you feel better, yeah, but in some of the workshops I conduct, we get people to do this. And when we look at everybody, then we share what we write down. And guess what? Many times we come to then realize that we are all facing very similar things. Yeah. Oftentimes we feel like we are the only one doing that, you know. And the simple reason is because you only know your circle of friends, and you cannot read people's mind. Yeah. But we are aware of what we do, what we are thinking. So as we learn more Dharma, we may start to feel horrible about ourselves, you know. But don't feel that way. No? It's understandable. We all are facing the same problem. In the Sutta, the Buddha actually said, sentient beings, when faced with pain, with suffering, then we run away and try to indulge in sensual pleasure. Yeah. This is way before Shopee exists. But without Shopee, human beings are still doing this. Yeah, human beings have been doing this for thousands and thousands and since beginningless time. So it's very normal, understandable. Yeah, but I like what you said. We are trying to break out of this cycle. The fact that you are aware of this is the start. 加油！阿弥陀佛。We are barely halfway through the participants, but it's 4 o'clock. So how? Can we have everybody's agreement to continue for maybe another just 15 minutes? Just 15 minutes. So next up would be Jing Zhen. Oh wait, sorry, before that, sorry, because someone wrote something inside. Yiling wrote, Shifu, you mentioned that it is bad karma towards monks. How about monks that are not real, that don't follow the teachings of the Buddha? I would presume you are talking about what I mentioned earlier, that if, let's say, Shifu is like, ask your questions, yeah, I'll give your homework, and then, but my intention is pure. Wait, let me see where it's Yiling first. Yiling, wave your hand, Yiling. Yiling, can you wave your hand? Oh, no video. Can you hear me, Yiling? Can you type yes if you can hear me? Okay. Can hear me? Can? Okay. So that statement was with respect to me saying that I'm quite clear on my intent, yeah, in class is pure. So if instead you all feel disgruntled, have feel offended, then as a result have contempt or unwholesome thoughts, yeah, then it's not so good karma. Yeah. So the context is quite important here. All right. In fact, I would say not simply because I'm a monk, but even in your day-to-day life with other people who are not monastics, if their intent is pure, and then you have the kind of unwholesome thoughts, it's actually bad karma. Like for example, Xiu Ling is an enforcement officer, right? So her peers do it with their best ability, with pure intent to uphold the regulations so that they protect the public interest, public health interest. But individuals not happy, then abuse them. Do not be mistaken that, or it's simply that they violate the law, then the law charge them, that's the end of it. Bad karma also. don't think that bad karma is only towards triple gem, then got bad karma. If that's the case, then for a triple gem become a source of bad karma for people. You know, bad karma is whenever you have ill intent, unwholesome intent, yeah, and in particular towards individuals who are pure on their side, yeah. So Yiling's question, you mentioned that it is bad karma towards monks. So not simply towards monks. I hope I'm getting the context correct. So the context is that because I'm clear of my intent, that is pure on my side. So how about monks that are not real monks that don't follow the teachings of the Buddha? So that is a whole can of worms. Yeah. So in those cases, then it's a totally different context. Yeah. But still, my advice to people, if let's say like nowadays, the fake monks, they cannot go to MRT station and stand there anymore. Yeah, because of COVID-19. So kind of solve the problem. Yeah. But in future, okay, this hopefully in due time will go away. Then they'll be back. Yeah. In all likelihood, they'll be back. Then how? My advice to students is when you see so-called fake monks, treat them like real monks. Yeah. So how do you treat them like real monks? If they stand there at MRT station in the morning, then you go there, buy a cha bee hoon, then offer them cha bee hoon. Yeah. Don't go there and then they sell amulet. Don't buy amulet. Real monks don't sell amulet. Yeah. And in my opinion, the fact that you think that the person is a fake monk is because the person does look like a monk. Isn't it? If a person don't look like a monk, you wouldn't say it's fake monk. So the person actually put in effort to look like a monk, but doesn't behave like a monk. So you should be we should in a like that way be grateful to them for reminding us of what is a real monk and what is not a real monk. Yeah. And then if we are so inclined, we can take a further step. Go and offer cha bee hoon, bow down in front of them. I sometimes wonder, no, even if that monk is a fake monk, if 100 devotees come and offer cha bee hoon, each one bow down, I think after the 100 ones, they also like either they immediately quit or they think, I think I should really go and be a real monk. People are so respectful of us, we better do the right thing. Yeah. But maybe some monks need 1,000 prostration. So okay, next, Jing Zhen.
Hello, Shifu. This is my first workshop, so everything is new. Yeah. In fact, I have more questions.
Oh, you have more questions.
After I joined this workshop, and I think one part of it, right, I'm still trying to figure it out myself is when we say 无蕴皆空, then do we need to try so hard in life anymore? So everything we see is empty. Even if it be it pleasant or unpleasant. I think that is something that I need to reconcile within myself. And another reflection I have is also clinging towards loved one. Happens to be I recently read a book called Being Mortal. It's talking about towards end of life. What is the choice? Whether you want longer life but bad quality, or you have a choice or to just choose quality over the longevity of life, especially those old and frail, or for example, people with critical illness. I thought about that about my dad. So at some point, that decision will not be his decision. It's probably me. When it comes to that situation, I think what I'm missing now is I never had this hard conversation with him, and what he really wants till the very end. And I don't think I'm ready to have that conversation because of the clinginess. Yeah.
I think it's only understandable that such a conversation will, in all likelihood, not be easy for anyone. Yeah. Whether you learn Dharma or not learn Dharma, unless you're enlightened. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that enlightened beings will take it lightly also. You know. In fact, I think for enlightened ones, they will take it even more seriously, because while they are very clear of realities, they are even clearer of the extent that the person they're going to speak to, be it their father or mother, may not be aware of the full reality of things and how difficult it is for them to face it. Yeah. But as in many things in life, this is one of the things that whether we want to face it or not is there. Yeah. It's like when we go for a meal, there's no meal that doesn't end. Yeah. But I would say don't beat yourself over it to say, okay, I must get it done now, or to do it when you are able to, when you're able to. Yeah. The first thing you mentioned about the 照见无蕴皆空, yeah. So the question is, when we say that the five aggregates, in other words, our mind and body, our very existence is empty in nature, yeah, it's empty. Okay. So then you say that, then is there even any point to strive, right? So the question is, why not? Yeah, why not? Is it because if it's empty, then it means that it's in vain? Feels that way, isn't it? Yeah. Because if it's empty, then ultimately all cease to exist, ma. Then what for try so hard? Yes, in a way you can say that. That's why enlightened ones stop striving for themselves, but they start to live their life to the fullest, striving for others. Yeah. And that gives them tremendous energy in their life. Striving for ourselves, it depends on your mood. Yeah, depends on your emotions. But that emotion can wax and wane. But for enlightened ones, they transcend their own self. They transcend their desires, their craving, by simply, well, to see that this is in vain, it's empty in nature. But then when they look around, they see that all the other sentient beings still don't know. So they're struggling. So out of compassion for them, instead of striving for yourself, you start to strive for others. This is one part that I often share in the class also, about how sometimes Buddhists may have the idea, or people may have idea about Buddhists that, oh, you're Buddhist, so why you work so hard for? Huh? Anyway, everything empty, ma. Yeah. And sometimes we may start to question ourselves, right? What's all this for? Yeah. But I'm here to give you a good news. Yeah. That striving can be a different way of striving. Be like the enlightened ones. So you still do your best. Yeah. In fact, now you can really do your very best. Do the best. Usually when we say do our best means make ourselves the best. Now, when we do our best, it's a different kind of best. It's to get the job done the best way, even if it's to help others succeed. As long as it's done the best, that's what matters. Then when you go to work, if the whole work environment take on a whole different dimension. Yeah. And from my own experience, I start to appreciate that my colleagues, they are also making their decisions with their best intent, except that because there's so much fear involved, there's so much fear and distrust, not sure whether they can trust you, whether they can trust them or not. So we put up a lot of defenses. We do a lot of preemptive planning. So we end up wasting a lot of our time and resource trying to navigate and put up, blocks here and there. Yeah. But if only one of us were to take the first step to establish trust. Yeah. Initially, your colleagues may start to wonder, sure or not? Yeah. But over time, some of them, not all, some of them will start to see that you are for real. And then the whole work environment becomes different. So can still try. 加油.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 4:16. We have covered a number of y'all. We need to take a photo, then I know the ones who have already spoken. Yeah. Pei Shan wrote, hi Jingzhen, maybe can look into advanced care planning to have others facilitate the talking, sharing with your loved ones. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But Shifu, that is working ourselves out of our job. Koi Yong says. Yeah, see, that's why I managed to get myself out of the rat race. But that's the thing, the prisoner's dilemma. Everybody is afraid of losing out. So everybody make the decision that we know actually is not necessarily good for everybody. And in the end, everybody loses. But because everybody loses, then we feel that at least we all lose, ma. So not so bad. As long as not that I lose, you win. Yeah. And as long as we all hold on to this notion, then nobody wins. Yeah. I have confidence that working can be different. And I say this not because I was a monk all my life, but because in the 4 to 5 years of work life, if you include even before that, when I did internship and part-time, my work attitude is always basically just yeah. And I'm glad to hear from other students that they tried also, and that's their ethos at work also. Yeah, and they're still gainfully employed. Yeah. So Koyang, where is Koyong? Koyong, yes. I must say, I understand your fear or your concern also, not fear. I understand your concern also. Yeah. That in some companies, the kind of culture may not be so suitable. Yeah. But question is then, do we then end up acting in a samsaric way, or do you want to transcend that? Try.
师傅，
师
傅 can we take a photo first?
Okay, can.
Okay, so I will have Lord John to take. Okay, Lighton. Okay, everyone ready? Okay, I'll take in 3, 2, 1. Okay, got it.
All right. Put the palms together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
起立。